Hey guys, and welcome to askmark number 43. 43.
Life begins at 43.
It does it? 43. Well, does that mean we're like negative? We're not living yet? Okay.
Life hasn't started yet.
That's good to know. Thank you very much for letting me know that, Mark. How are you? Are you okay today,
I'm
Mark?
good.
You had a good week?
I'm surrounded by bolt snaps. So I'm happy. Sean knows because I've already sent him the footage, but in a few weeks' time there's going to be a video on how to care for them. And I discovered that I own a fair few bolt snaps.
Dear.
This isn't even all of them. This is just the ones that aren't. I'm just gonna.
I don't do like a Mr. T, like it's jingle jangly.
It feels a lot like Game of Thrones that I've been rewatching.
Nah.
With their like maesters, they got all their like chains and stuff.
No,
So-
it's like something out of 50 Shades of Grey, mate. Don't lie, Mark. That's what you're already watching.
Yeah, I've got a fair few.
Well, that's great. Thanks. I just asked for a picture, Mark. That's all I asked for. Cool, man. But that's good. I'm glad that you are surrounded by your emotional bolt snaps and that you're loving life.
I feel safe.
Excellent. Before we crack on with the show, I do have to mention a couple of things. So first off, the road to 6,000. Obviously, we're trying to push and promote that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we would like to get 6,000 followers over on our Instagram page by the end of the year. We're doing very, very well at the moment. But yeah, we're there, but we're not there. We've just reached over the 5,900 mark. So yeah, we're getting there basically. So yeah, if you're on Instagram, if you want to be inspired by all things scuba diving, all things underwater, with the additional products thrown at you now and again, you don't mind that, then yeah, go follow us over on Instagram. You can click the link that's going to be pinned in the comments below, or over on Instagram, just type in Simply Scuba and we will pop up. So yeah, that's number one. Number two, this is the last ever episode of askmark in September.
First September.
In September, yeah. Myself and Mark, we're either filming or we're away. Well, we're both away at some points, but also I'm filming up in London and doing some other bits for the company next week. So ask Mark, because I was thinking, maybe we could do an Ask Sean, but no, it's out the window.
It's happened before.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do, this is going to be the last one until the 8th of October when we're both back, We're both refreshed and we're ready to rock and roll. I've scheduled in the community tab a couple of other askmarks from yonder, ye olde askmarks, to go live. Yeah, vintage askmarks to go live when this video normally goes live. So even though it's not going to be new, if you want to rewatch one or two of our older episodes, they will be pinging up on your feed over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that is it. Yeah, so road to 6,000. Please follow us over on Instagram. And yeah, this is the last episode for September, live, should I say. And we will be back on the 8th of October. Let's crack on with some questions then, shall we, Marky Mark?
Sure.
Wicked. So the first one is from Jose. He says, "Hey there, I'm a new diver looking to build my own setup. I've been finding your content really helpful, so thanks for that. You're welcome. My knowledge is amazing when it comes to scuba diving." Anyway, he says, "I was wondering if you could give me some advice on this. I've been looking at this regulator package, the Apex MTX RC single cylinder DIR set. It seems perfect. However, I've noticed that this package, in line with a lot of textile setups, comes with an SPG, that lack of a depth gauge. Why is this? And as a new diver, is it important to have an analog back for the depth? Thanks in advance."
Yeah, a lot of the sort of techie side of things, especially DIR, they don't have depth gauges. They're kind of superfluous because we have our dive computer and that's what we use to sort of assess our depth. So an analog backup would just be a backup. The the kind of irony of that is your SPG itself is kind of an analog backup if you dive with a transmitter. But I mean, all of my personal sets, they all have that single brass and glass SPG instead of the like slimline gauges, because I've dived with some of those before, and water can get in, they're okay, but they rattle, the slimline ones, and they're just, I prefer the brass and glass versions. But no, as far as diving with a depth gauge, I think a lot of it's just down to like being streamlined. If you've got this big sort of relatively clunky sort of double gauge, it's something extra kind of on your hip. Whereas when you go to it, you're mainly looking for your pressure gauge to know how much gas you have left in the tank. So yeah, I think a lot of people or a lot of divers just tend to sort of cut it off. I haven't dived with a submersible pressure gauge 7, possibly more years.
Wow. Okay.
It's at least it's not really necessary. It's just something extra. I mean, if you had it on like Sidemount tanks, then you'd have these like double gauges just kind of like sticking out.
Okay.
So no, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's pretty rare that your dive computer should fail during a dive, and even if it should, you should have your buddy next to you so you can use theirs to sort of stay at the same dive profile. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You could, if you wanted to, sort of get the set, sort of take that SPG off and then fit a double console. It's the high pressure hose is a universal fitting, so you could if you really wanted to. The overall set, MTX RC double tough regulator, is basically the X650 but on steroids, designed for like really super cold, rough kind of weather. It was originally designed from the military regulator, the MTX, and then they made like a civilian version of it, the MTX RC, and then they made an adjustable version, the MTX R. God, these acronyms. MTX R was the recreational version. Then they made the MTX RC, which had some controls on it, so that you could adjust the breathing, because the MTX R was a little bit stiff. It was designed for cold waters, so it was quite hard to open up that valve so it wouldn't free flow. Didn't have any like adjustability, because that was part of NEDU, the Navy, the experimental diving unit or something, whatever that is. Was like, no, we don't want to give them anything fiddly because that will break in the field. So it didn't have anything. So divers liked it, but it was quite a kind of stiff breathe. Great for cold water diving. But to make it a bit more recreational, yeah, they added that sort of extra twiddly bits so you could adjust it. And in this configuration, that like single cylinder long hose configuration, yeah, it is probably the best configuration. It's gone through generations of like testing, mainly in several. The idea of it comes from overhead environments. Extra long hose as your primary, and then your octo or your alternate sits around your neck. So you donate your primary, you got the really long hose, so you have plenty of breathing space, and then yeah, you switch to your alternates. So yeah, it's a great foundation. It's a great place to start. I can't really fault it, but I wouldn't worry too much about the depth gauge. Not too many divers dive with them anymore.
Cool, excellent. Nice. You could have just said, yes. No, don't worry.
No. Yeah, don't worry, it's fine.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, Apex wouldn't make it if it wasn't fine, so.
That's true. That's very true. Sweet. Right. Question number 2 is from Angela. Mm-hmm. They say, could you please explain...
No, I can't.
Fine, I can't talk. Could you please explain how you added the inner tubing to your bolt snap? Actually, sorry, I forgot to mention, this is one big question, but there's lots of questions in the question. So, yeah, okay. How did you add the inner tube to your bolt snap? Would the 4th element Argo dry bag fit everything from your tropical /slummer summer travel bag. Do you have any experience with Apex wet notes? And do you soak your compass over after dives to remove residue salt beneath the bezel? So first off, Mark, inner tubing on your bolt snap.
So inner tubing is let me get some. So inner tubing
is what you have in mountain bikes to pump your tires up and having your wheels.
Except we cut it up. So inner tubing is just these kind of like rubber bands, basically. Normally it goes over 2-inch webbing, just to like tuck things underneath so it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, you basically get your bolt snap and then you just double it over and twist it until there's no like slack. And that's a great way of identifying or sort of marking your bolt snaps, because it's waterproof, doesn't go anywhere, and it's pretty unique. So even if someone else has something similar, the exact way that it's folded is quite unique, so you can recognize it. The fourth element, Argo.
Yes. Is it a good bag? Will you fit everything from your tropical/summer travel?
That is a fourth element Argo. My one's a little bit beaten up. For a tropical dive, yeah. I don't see why not. Fins, BCD, regulators. Yeah, you could fit all of it inside of that. It's a roll top dry bag, and it's pretty tough. So yeah, I could go for a week's dive out of the Argo. It's perfectly fine.
Awesome. Wet notes, Apex wet notes. Do you have any experience with them? What do you think?
If I'd reach into my Argo dry bag,
they better be wet. The notes. I'll be very disappointed if they're dry, Mark.
Yeah, they're great. They're wet notes. Not much that you can say about it. It's got everything that you need on it. It's in a sensible size, decent, and you've got plenty of attachment points for sort of pencils and bolt snaps and whatnot. So perfectly fine.
Excellent, brilliant. And the next one is the last one. Do you soak your compass after dives to remove the residue salt beneath the bezel?
Yeah, everything. Everything that's touched salt water gets sort of rinsed out, either in the garden or the bathtub or something. Yeah, salt crystals and just everything gets into all the little nooks and crannies, the little cracks and things. It gets absolutely everywhere. So yeah, give it a good soak. Warm, soapy, fresh water. Give it a soak for about 20 minutes. And then spray it down afterwards. Because a lot of the time, even if you do soak it for 20 minutes, if you just put it in water and then take it straight out, the salt will still be there. So you need that bit of sort of agitation. So yeah, give it a good sort of rinse off and then hang it up to dry so the water can drain out before you store it. But yeah, everything that touches salt water, it gets rinsed out and sort of has a proper soak to get rid of all the contaminants, because it does build up, and it is surprising even after you can throw stuff in like a bathtub of water for 2 hours and then take it out, you hang it up, and like that white salt deposit starts to sort of show. So yeah, you do need to give it a bit of a scrub as well. When it's in the water, just rotate that bezel and that just agitates it and sort of gets the salt out.
There we go, guys. Hopefully, Angelo, that helped you out with the several questions. They were to the point. That's why I didn't bother breaking them up. I thought that's one big question with lots of
they were nice and succinct.
Yeah.
And all out of a single bag almost.
I can't believe you. By the way, that was a brand new bag. Mark just messed it up to make himself look.
I even put my details on it.
Exactly. He only got that in the post yesterday. Just for this video, it's going to get cleaned up, and then one of you lucky people, if you buy it, will get it from our website. I'm joking, that does not happen. Guys and girls, how do you pack yours? Is there a specific bag that you like for when you're traveling for your scuba diving equipment? Do you use the wet notes? How do you get on with them? Let us know in the comments below, please. So question number 3, we are halfway through today's show. It's from a Robin P. They say, does diving have a diversity issue? I feel fortunate that my BZAC Dive Club, shout out to Holborn, Has a great mix of people, but when I go to training lakes around the UK, it does seem like some clubs are, as the kids I believe say, sausage fests.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there is like this like image that's put out by all the training agencies and things. It's always like a perfectly represented mixed group of divers. But yeah, when you actually head to especially UK dive sites, it's all sort of white middle-aged guys with beards. Yeah, there is a bit of there is a bit of a diversity issue. I don't really know how we'd fix it. I mean, you hear about it on sort of different diving forums online, and it's a matter of, because as soon as you sort of go to these lakes or whatnot, you just see it's all just white men, and it feels like a bit much to try and sort of work your way into it. There's no real way that I can avoid being a white guy at a dive site, so I don't know how we would sort of adjust for that or sort of be a bit more inclusive. It's not that we're like trying to stop a certain demographic or something from sort of joining us, but I don't really know what the answer is. But yeah, I do think there is a bit of a diversity issue. It's starting to get a bit better with sort of female divers, because the equipment is becoming a bit more specialized, a bit more tailored, a bit more comfortable. So instead of just having, boom, here's a universal jacket, it's not designed for you, but wear it. It's becoming a bit more inclusive in that way. So the equipment's becoming a bit more comfortable and available in more places. So I think that's slowly starting to sort of get into it. But yeah, I think it's available. Scuba diving, anybody can do it. Anyone can join us. It's just a matter of they need to want to. And I personally don't know the answer to that question, how to get more people into scuba diving.
This is called Ask Mark. You should have the answer to it straight away. How dare you not know?
Fix inequality.
There we go. There's your answer.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers. Change your Facebook profile to a scuba diver. Scuba divers for all. And that will change the world, guys. That's what happens. That's how it works, isn't it?
Nowadays. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah, I think there's still a little bit, especially when we look at our like demographics, they are quite skewed in one direction. It would be nice to see them start to like sort of even out, and I think it probably will happen over time. But yeah, time will tell. I don't know the exact answer how to fix it at the moment. If I did, I'd probably be doing something else trying to fix that.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely from the female perspective, based on our analytics and our insights across the website, across all our social channels, over the past maybe 2 years, there definitely has been a bigger increase. It's not a massive increase. The majority of our audience is still male orientated, but I think it is slowly getting there. And the fact that you have like the girls that scuba and girls that scuba and stuff, so you have those groups, but even those groups are now involving males. So girls that scuba, obviously it's predominantly to help inspire and to get girls to go scuba diving. They now have trips where it's mixed, so it's boys and girls diving together, which is fantastic.
We can't have like segregation.
Exactly.
That's a step backwards.
Yeah, it is a step backwards.
But it is good that they make it a bit more accessible. You can sort of dip your toes in and get into it, and then start to here's a dive boat just full of guys. I mean, if I think to like most of the liverboards that I've been on, it's probably about 75% male. It's not completely male. I don't think I've ever been on a dive boat where it's only men. I don't think. So it's that there are women around, but it just takes a bit of time.
That's it. That's all you can do.
They are out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Diversity issues, guys. Let's have a sensible a conversation about that in the comments below. Please, if you have any ideas, let us know. And we can bring the wonderful world of scuba diving to more people, basically. Please do that. So, question number 4 is from Stiggysaurus. Stiggy is back. I hope you're okay, Stiggy. I've missed saying your name. He says, if you run both tanks on the left side, which orientation should the 2 bottles be? Question mark. Are you supposed to attach the O2 bottle first, since you'll be using it second?
Yeah. Usually it's the sort of the richest mix, like further down. But whatever works for you, you do whatever you want, however you were trained. If there's like too clunky underneath, you could always put that final like 100% oxygen like on a leash, kind of like behind you, so it's a bit more out of the way. You can do whatever you want within reason, as long as you're checking exactly which second stage is going in your mouth. Go with whatever you want. It makes it a bit more likely that you're going to reach for the less rich mix first, because it's higher up, so it's easier to sort of get to. But yeah, once it's done, you can like stow it away and sort of put it sort of around the back. So but whatever you were trained in and whatever works for you. This kind of thing, I'm never too keen on like trying to influence people and say, do this. This is the right way of doing it. There is no right way of doing it. It's just whatever works best for you. As long as your tanks are marked up.
As you would say, Mark, horses for courses.
Horses for courses.
And my version of that is whatever floats your boat, or whatever floats your sofa.
Sort of.
Go
on then.
Anyway.
It's if you do have 2 parallel sort of tanks on your left hand side, then I'd probably put the richer mix at the bottom, just because it's further away as such in your mind, and the first one that you're going to reach is the higher one. There
you go. Hopefully that helps you out.
Put it on the right, rich right. Maybe that works for you.
Do whatever the hell you want, basically. Whatever's comfortable for you, whatever works for you, as long as it's safe, it's secure, do it.
Whatever you do, check the tank markings. Get that double check from your buddy that it's the correct one. You're not below the MOD, and you should be fine.
Excellent, cool. Cool, wicked. Let's go to the next question. It's from 999 Racing. What up, 999 Racing? They say, should I get side mount or doubles? What's easier out of the water for cleaning, filling, carrying, etc.? I dive in a dry suit most of the time, but in the summer I'll go wet as well. So help them out. Side mount, doubles, triples, quadruples, 10.
Twins or side mounts. So which is easier out of the water? Side mount. It's a matter of you have 2 separate cylinders that you can lift them individually. You can literally take them down to the water. You can even lower them off a rope into the water off the side of a boat, and then jump in with no cylinders, attach them in the water, and then go diving. With twins, you just have to suck it up and stand up with 2 cylinders sort of bolted to your back. That being said, I prefer twins because I like that really solid build and that sort of redundancy, sort of single system. With dry gloves and thicker neoprene gloves, side mount is a lot of clipping, and it's just a lot of things going on, and you've got your big sort of bulky dry suit trying to sort of find things. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of drills to sort of get used to that. Whereas with twins, boom, it's on your back and you're sorted, you jump in the water. Which is easier? Which question?
Maintenance. Yeah, like cleaning and stuff like that.
Cleaning, there's very little difference that I can think of. They both just get hosed down after a dive. The side mount is easier to move around because you just have individual cylinders, and if you're happy making 2 journeys, then yeah, it's fine. With twins, you just need to get one of those like sack barrows to wheel it around, just because it's a lot easier. Getting fills, it's arguably easier with twins because you only need a single whip, and it connects the 2. Yeah. Whereas with side mounts, you can have sort of 2 separate fills, so they're not going to be exactly the same. I quite like twins, and I mentioned it in the why you should sort of dive a twin set, in that because they are manifolded, because they're connected at the top, that final 50 bar in each of the cylinders is shared, so you actually have more gas as such to a certain degree. I suppose that's more if you're only diving singles, but yeah, you don't have to swap backwards and forwards between stages to allow for the sort of one. If you breathe one cylinder down on side mount, then its buoyancy changes, so that's going to be a lot lighter, so you kind of have to breathe. Divers do it differently. You either breathe like 100 bar down on one, swap to the other one, breathe that one down 100 bar, and all like continue down. And then you've got to switch second stages periodically. Whereas on twin sets, it's just a single second stage because they're connected.
What they should do is your second stage that you put in your mouth, have both of them there, attach a hose tube, and then have both of them running into your mouth at the same time. Okay, I was joking. I can't believe that's an actual thing.
You can have a switching block. It's normally for full face masks because you don't want to take the full face mask off and then put a different full face mask on.
It depends, mate. It depends on how much money you've got and you really want to do that.
If you've got the money, it's worth investing in a switching block, which is basically 2 go in, and then 1 goes out, and you just flick a switch, and it like switches between the 2. That's far more civilized. But for but either or. If I'm in my dry suit, I tend to dive with my twins, unless I need that kind of flexibility. I'll probably dive twins. They're just not my personal preference. I have dive side mount. I used to side mount a fair amount, but yeah, it's good for that flexibility. It's good because it's better for your back in that you can just get in the water without any cylinders on your back. The cylinders can be there in the water waiting for you. You can unclip them. It's very, very flexible. And then after the dive, you don't have to climb out carrying both cylinders. You can just clip them off onto a line and then climb up without cylinders and then hoist them up afterwards. It's good flexibility, whereas twins are just bolted onto you and that's it.
Cool.
It's personal preference. They both work. Personally, I prefer twins, but side mount is just as good.
Cool. Guys, what do you prefer? Side mounts, twins? Let us know in the comments. If you've switched between the 2, give us your reasons why. Please let us know in the comments below. And let's go to the last question. It's from Gabriel. And they say, I'm looking to upgrade my Oceanic VTX to either the Eon Core, that's the Sunto, or the Shearwater Perdix AI. I haven't used either before. What would you recommend? I would personally recommend the Terric. Had to get that in there this episode. And then he goes on and says, I'm a Pacific Northwest diver with about 100 dives. Thank you. So, Eon Core or Perdix? I wonder where this is gonna go.
Delving back into my Argo.
Do you want to? To be fair, though, they are both brands are very highly recommended, aren't they? The Sunto and the Shearwater.
Yeah, they're probably the 2 top dive computer brands in the world at the moment. Sunto and Shearwater. At the moment, Shearwater usually pegs pegs above.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both good dive computers. That's the important thing to remember. That neither of them.
Well, they're not that
bad.
good. They're not the Terek, are they? Come on. Come on.
So they're both large screen, color screen dive computers. The main differences are going to be in one, the user interface. So the Eon Core has a 3-button user interface, which is very intuitive. Shearwater has a 2-button user interface, again is sort of intuitive. This one has piezoelectric switches or buttons instead of physical like manual buttons that you push and they move. This one has someone's tried to explain piezoelectric to me before, but it's magic. There's
magic.
No moving parts, and even if you're wearing gloves, it's something to do with like a change in ion something. It's clever. No moving
Nerd
parts,
stuff.
and it just works.
Nerdy stuff.
But yeah, Perdix is nice. It has a user-changeable battery with just a single AA battery, so that's very easy to swap over. The Eon Core has a rechargeable battery, so each of those has their pros and cons. With the Eon Core, it means that you can just top it up, like with your sort of mobile phone, just plug it into a USB sort of powered socket, and that's going to just top it up. Whereas with an actual separate battery, you have to take the old one out and then put a new one in. As far as algorithms, the Eon Core, that's going to be on the fused RGBM. It might be on the fused 2 now, but that's a pretty good algorithm nowadays. A lot of divers are saying it's kind of sorted out that like overly conservative sort of issue, whereas the Perdix that runs on the Buhlmann ZHL 16C, I think, but it does have gradient factors, so you can adjust it. The Eon Core, you can set up different like screens, which is quite nice. You have a like a visual one where it has that like circle, which was the whole sort of thing about the Eon range. You have this like visual thing, whereas the Perdix, it's a bit more standardized with its screen, but you can adjust the colors and make it very personalized. With the Eon Core, you can select certain information, say, oh, okay, I want this to kind of show here, but I don't think it's quite as comprehensive as the Shearwater. They're both great dive computers. They're both air integrated, so I think either way you're going to do quite good. One good thing about the sort of Sunto one is that if you wait until Christmas time, you'll probably get a transmitter for free.
They never do that. At no Christmases do they ever give away a free transmitter. It's never been a part of marketing where they say, no, we're not going to do it. And 3 days before Christmas, we all scramble to create a blooming email.
It's a running joke. I think it's different. It's probably different in certain regions, but yeah, 9 times out of 10, when it comes up, the lead up to Christmas or like Black Friday or something, there's going to be an offer on a Sunto transmitter. You're always going to have that. Cool. So yeah, if you're looking to save some money, then yeah, maybe wait a little bit close to sort of Black Friday.
Or get yourself a Shearwater, because their new transmitter's got a light on it, hasn't it? Like an LED light indicator.
Yeah, the Swift. Well, the Swift is clever because it actually it has like a receiver built into it, so it actually listens for other transmitters in the area. And if another one is broadcasting, instead of just broadcasting like at a usual like frequency, it listens out. If it hears someone else, it pauses to avoid any interference. And then once that's done, it goes, oh, okay, now I can speak. So very clever, very interesting. And it's permanent pairing as well, which is quite nice. So you basically type in the serial number and it's permanently paired. You don't have to do that, switch to channel such and such at the beginning of a dive trip. But personally, I dive in Perdix. I think
there we go. I was going to ask you that. It's just like, you've said that they're great, but it's a versus. They're both good, but there is always going to be one and I always knew it would be that one.
If you go on any scuba diving forum online and throw up any dive computer against any sheer water, the resounding answer is going to go just buy the sheer water. I've seen it on Reddit where people are saying, oh, I'm looking between this dive computer and that dive computer. And people just say, oh, well, don't bother with either of those. Just buy a sheer water.
Just buy a Terric.
They are fantastic dive computers. So yeah, there's also the Peregrine. But by the sounds of it, you're more sort of interested in air integrated dive computer. So yeah, Perdix AI. It's a great dive computer.
Shearwater, if you're watching, I'd like to get my check, please. Thank you. Or when, if and when a certain show or a starting series that we might be filming next year kicks into play, if you want to just give me a Terric to have on my wrist.
I actually have mine.
Yeah, well, all right. Superimpose a Terric in mine. Thanks.
Just product placement.
Cool. And on that bombshell, guys, let us know. That's it. That's the end of askmark 43. Done.
Yes.
We're finished. The finale for September, not the actual show itself.
Yeah. So there aren't going to be any others sort of going forwards. I think for the next like 2 or 3 maybe, but still send us in your questions because we will get back into the swing of things towards the end of September, beginning of October. Try and use the hashtag askmark in your sort of comments and questions. Just makes it a little bit easier. Don't forget to check out simplyscuba.com. A lot of this stuff is available on our website. Thank you for watching, everybody. And, of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.